10 minutes? That's exactly how long it took for Kimi Antonelli to bury his Mercedes into the wall at Monza. 52 Gs of force, a destroyed car, and a silence that fell over the Italian Grand Prix. Media immediately sharpened their knives. They said he was too young. They said the biggest seed in racing had broken him before his career even started. They called it the biggest mistake in modern Formula One history. But here's the thing. While the world laughed at an 18-year-old rookie, they were completely blind to what was actually happening. Because Kimi Antonelli wasn't just a driver who crashed. He was an extinction-level event for the old guard of Formula One. And the people who ran the sport were about to find out exactly what they'd been warning each other about for years. This is the story of the prodigy who broke every rule in Formula One, and why the paddock was right to be terrified. To understand why Kimi Antonelli is so dangerous, you have to understand where he came from. He was born in Bologna in 2006. His father, Marco, was a racing driver himself, not a Formula One star, but someone who understood the sport from the inside. From the moment Kimi could walk, motorsport was the language spoken at home. He started karting at 7 years old, and almost immediately, it was obvious that something was different about this kid. Not just his speed, but his instinct, the way he read a race, the way he managed pressure. At 14, he won the Senior European Karting Championship on his very first attempt in that class. A year later, he won it again. By the time he was 15, Mercedes had already seen enough. They didn't just put him on a watch list. They signed him to their junior program and started building a plan around him. And that plan was unlike anything Formula One had seen before. He didn't climb the ladder like everyone else. Most drivers spend years in Formula 3 learning the circuits, building experience, making mistakes at a level where mistakes are forgiven. Antonelli skipped it entirely. Mercedes threw him straight into Formula 2, a move so rare, it borders on arrogance. And yet, in his very first Formula 2 season, he won races. He finished 6th in the championship in a car that wasn't built to fight at the front. The plan was simple. Let him learn. Let him make mistakes in the shadows, away from the cameras. But then the most coveted seat in racing suddenly became empty. Toto Wolff had a choice. Sign a proven veteran or throw his 18-year-old prodigy into the fire. He chose the fire. And the world was about to find out if the kid would burn or if he would burn the grid down. If you're enjoying this story of how one driver changed Formula One forever, take a second to hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel grow and ensures you won't miss the next deep dive into the paddock's biggest stories. By the time Kimi Antonelli lined up on the grid for his first Formula One race, something had already shifted in the paddock. The people who had laughed at the crash in Monza weren't laughing anymore, because they had seen what he did in testing. They had seen the data. They had watched a teenager walk into the most scrutinized seat in the history of the sport and treat it like he'd been waiting for it his entire life. He wasn't nervous, he wasn't overwhelmed, he was ready, and deep down the paddock already knew what was coming. Now what happens next is the part that nobody who dismissed him after Monza wants to talk about, because the crash did not break him. It did not slow him down. It did not shake his confidence or make him cautious or turn him into the kind of driver who lifts off when the car gets loose. It did the opposite. Every time something went wrong, and in a first Formula One season plenty goes wrong, Antonelli came back the following weekend and drove better. There were difficult races. There were weekends where his teammate George Russell, one of the most consistent drivers on the grid, simply had the upper hand. And every single time Antonelli responded. That is not something you can teach. That is not something that comes from experience. That is character. And it is the one quality that separates drivers who win championships from drivers who win races. Toto Wolff had seen it from the very beginning. The crash at Monza was not a red flag. It was confirmation. So let's go back to that wall at Monza one final time. When Antonelli crashed in 2024, the world saw a teenager who wasn't ready. But what they didn't understand is this. You can teach a fast driver not to crash, but you can never teach a safe driver to be fast. Antonelli was pushing the absolute limits of what a Formula One car could do. That's not a mistake. That's a signal. The drivers who become legends don't arrive quietly. They announce themselves, sometimes with a win, sometimes with a pole position, and sometimes with 52 G-forces and a destroyed car at the Curva Alboreto. The future of Formula One doesn't wait for permission, it just takes the lead. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more stories like this one, check out the other videos on the channel. I'll see you there.